Hello everyone, welcome to today's CA Community Webcast. My name is Kristen Palazzolo, I'm your Community Manager, and today's topic is CA Data Protection, an Overview and Roadmap. So today we'll be discussing the various capabilities of the product. You'll get to know various new features developed in the recent few releases of data protection, and the product team will present plans on what the product has to offer in future releases. If you have any questions at all during today's webcast, you can feel free to ask them during some breaks that we'll be taking in between the different sections of the presentation, or you can ask them in the chat or Q&A panel, and we'll get to them as soon as possible. So without further ado, I'm going to pass it over to Hemant, and he will take it from here. Thanks so much for doing this today.
Thank you, Christian. Welcome, everybody. So today's presentation is on CA Data Protection Overview. What's the new releases that we released in the last few releases and the roadmap. So I am Hemant Kumar, Product Manager for CA Data Protection. So what will be the agenda for today? So we'll be covering product overview. We'll be talking about the various data in use, data in motion, data at rest, and data at access features provided in CA Data Protection, recent product releases, and we'll go brief about the last two releases, that is 15.1 and 15.2. And then we'll talk about what's coming up in the future releases, what the roadmap looks like. So for the overview, so before we start, in current age, we do have so many possibilities of data loss. Let me give a few examples, like an internal communication that's forwarded to an external third parties, or moving confidential data to a USB drive, and then it can be transferred to another computer. Internal communications of inappropriate content shared between employees, going off the corporate network, like sitting in a hotel, and then uploading sensitive data to webmail, highly confidential data which is unprotected lying in network shared folders, or somebody trying to print its specifications when in office or disconnected and take this print to third party. Now these are various scenarios in which is where the risk of data loss is. CA Data Protection delivers various capabilities like endpoint and data protection at network, stored data, email supervision, through which we can analyze and control data at various range of control points. So starting with data in use, at the endpoint, we do have various agents which can do various different types of controls and protection. We'll go deep into all of them. And data in motion, any email that is flowing around the organization from internal or external can be monitored. And then at monitoring the network at the network egress points, monitoring the archive agents, or through an ICAP agent at the network point. So we'll talk more about how we protect in data in motion. Data at rest, where the data is lying at the shared folders or various repositories, we can scan the data and find data which is non-compliant to the company's policy. And in data classification, we do have a classification engine that can provide fine-grained, it can provide policy compliant and find that what files lying where is of what types. It is a PII data, is a health data, and can classify it and provide this data as a feed to any third party who wants to do a fine-grained control. For all of these, we do have a centralized location where an admin or a reviewer or users can do all kinds of operations, like reviewing dashboard, search, reports, adding new identities, making new roles, or creating new policies. So I'll be going one by one. Okay, so coming to data in use. So we do have various endpoints which can control the data and the activities that are happening at workstation, laptops, when a user is emailing, printing, saving a file to USB or a network share, burning a CD or DVD, or using the web or launching an application. And all such operations can be monitored by CA data protection endpoint. Like the Outlook agent monitors all the Outlook-based email activity. The Lotus Notes agent monitors the Lotus Notes email activity similarly. We do have a client file system agent, which is a policy on save control, where whenever a file is being copied or moved from a local hard disk to a removable storage device like USB, flash, SD cards, file being synced to some folders like Dropbox, network location, something being burned, some files being burned or written to CDs or DVDs. In all such operations, CFSA can selectively block or allow a file or can enable these files to be encrypted depending upon what is the policy being violated. Various other operations like delete, replace, move unauthorized files or force encryption can also be enabled. Coming to file print, client print system agent, when it's a policy on print. When a user is trying to print some documents, CA data protection is scan and then apply policies to allow a block a print job. It can also disable if somebody is trying to do a print screen, depending upon the policy. Then it comes the client network agent, where any web-based activity on the endpoint can be monitored, like monitoring the HTTP request. Now, this is something where the user is attempting to post files or on a web or commenting on a website, submitting a form data. CA data protection can monitor attempts to check such operations, or like a file being uploaded, checked in to a SharePoint library. It also has an application agent that can monitor various applications and can create usage matrix for all these applications. The good part about, or uniqueness about CA data protection endpoint is even the parent server like PE and CMS is unavailable. Somebody takes a laptop to their home, CA data protection can still do all the operations. So when the parent server is not available, still the protection is enabled. Any questions on data in use?
If you'd like to unmute your line to ask a question, just press #6 or *6.
Coming to data in motion, I'll move forward and take questions in the last device. We do have message server agents which can monitor emails sitting at the email servers. Archive agents, when an email is being archived, before just getting it archived, it can get a copy of the email and apply policy. At the network, we do have a network appliance called NBA, which is a soft appliance, can be placed at the proxy and can monitor all the network traffic. And we do have an ICAP agent that can sit at the blue coat or a Squid proxy that can monitor files being uploaded, downloaded. So starting with the email, we do have support for Exchange, Domino, SMTP, and we recently came up with the Office 365 integration where the emails from an Office 365 can be monitored. Now, it is a lightweight agent that is deployed at the email server. So whenever there is a communication which is happening, and policy can be applied, and any internal or external communications which can be through a client, web, or a mobile can still be monitored. So, and it can actually read the encryption, sender details, recipient details, BCC, role, geography, IP, domain, and can apply policy on various different contexts of the identity. Coming to archive agents, we do support various archive agents. I've written top two here is EMC Source 1 and Semantic Endpoint Vault, where when an email is getting archived, before that, CA Data Protection has a BC component which monitors every email that is being archived and applies policy to that. And also it stores a unique number which can be used for retrieval years. So let's say an email that was sent 2 years back or 5 years back, CA Data Protection, because it was sitting and analyzing that file when it was being archived, it can still retrieve that because of the unique ID which is still captured in our database. Importer can read various feeds from IM and chat like Bloomberg, Reuters, and can apply policies on any of those IM, chat, or various forms of communications that were happening. Similarly, like email activities on the network through MTA and web activities that can be monitored by integration with ICAP agent is a uniqueness of data in motion. SSL decryption is possible when the ICAP integration is enabled. I'll take questions on the last in case. Coming to data in REST. In data in REST, we do have a scanning tool which is called file scanning agent, and it can protect and control data stored in shared folders, file, document repositories like Exchange public folder, ODBC database source, Microsoft SharePoint. So FSA is controlled by a job, and which can be scheduled, or it can be manual runtime scanning, and it knows what to scan with some filtering options. And on filtering, it can provide the policy which will be applied, and also can take control actions like move, delete, quarantine, or can enforce encryption. The other usage of it is that it knows that those files which have been once scanned and nothing has changed, it can ignore it from the next time. So the scanning next time takes a really short time. We have more than 200 corporate policies. Most of the recognized file types are being supported. So this is about the data protection for stored data. Coming to data at access, we do have a classification engine provided by CA Data Protection, and this is where classification engine can discover and classify sensitive, structured, and unstructured content, which is stored in various file servers, SharePoint. It can scan dynamically, or can be a manual scanning, which is scheduled. Various file types are supported which are recognized. More than 200 corporate policies are there. The and it has a web service API exposure where the output of it can be fed to any third party, which can use this to for any intelligent decision making based on the classification of the file type, of the content of the file. So it can be, so it is easy to make it consumable for any third party through the web service API. Like you can see here in the diagram, is any third party can access and the data can be fed back. And the scanning can be done pre-configured, so it will be a very short time frame when a third party can make a decision, fine-grained decision making. Okay, so any question?
I see a question that came in regarding the FSA remote connector. How many SharePoint shares can be scanned if using this remote connector without hindering performance?
Okay, so for these performance, I think I will have to go back into the QAs which have been done and the service from the service engineer. I currently don't have this handy data with me, but in case if you want to, so it's I can see it's from Frank. So Frank, I'll get back to you on this. Okay, so any other questions which relates to the product features? I just wanted to brief on the product features to make sure, because in the recent time, a lot of our internal, external customers did ask for various features which the product provides. So moving forward with the recent product updates. So it's like since March 2014, we do have frequent releases. So Data Protection 14.6 came in March 2014, which has features like supporting Exchange Server 2013, along with supporting IBM ICC collector. It has other features like iConsole duplicate event rollup, regionalized policy engine lookup, and applying policy on send of behalf user. So it was a minor release. Post that in June, we did release Data Protection Express, which is a very light data protection utility. It was a try and buy with a 45-day trial period, and it's a very easy to install, deploy, and use product. Coming to February 2015, Data Protection 15.0 was released, and it supported Office 365 integration and supporting the random sampling, where sampling between 0 to 100% can be achieved. Partial review was introduced. ICAP enhancement was done. Office 365 integration with Milter agent was done. Further, we have enhanced the Office 365 integration capabilities to support various other configurations. And some other features like node level policy export, policy copying functionality were introduced. In March 2016, this year, we released Data Protection 15.0 and 15.1. And April, we did release 15.1 SP1, which has a JasperSoft support for reporting. And in August this year, we released Data Protection 15.2. I'll be covering the last 15.1 and 15.2 in more details in the next slides. So the last slide is basically to emphasize that we do have been releasing, and from the product management and the engineering team, the focus is on the product, and there have been frequent releases happening, and we will see many more releases coming, and later we will be talking about the roadmap, how do you want to go ahead with the product in coming time. Coming to Data Protection 15.1 release. With this release, we supported a lot of server components on 64-bit, and this was to improve the performance of the R server components when deployed on a 64-bit environment. So like content service, admin console, iConsole, standard policy set, search report, CMS. So all these were components are now available in 64-bit. With this release, we did have other features like client network agent was enhanced to support those websites which has untrusted certificate. So when CNA is enabled, it can actually give a pop-up warning saying that the user is trying to use an untrusted website. On the reporting front, we do had CAR report, which is the compliance audit report. We added certain good important columns to it, which improved the last logon time and last review time, which improved the auditing report's value. And similarly, in review latency report, we did enhance to show the partial review status. The SQL Server partitioning support came in 15.1, which improved the performance when the database is in SQL. One important feature that was introduced was that CFSA now supports the MTP protocol. What does it mean is any Android devices, which is latest ones, when connected to the laptops or your desktops, and the file were being copied, it can monitor anything which is being copied to Android devices, or let's say the latest cameras, anything which supports the MTP protocol. 15.1 SP1 came with the support for JasperSoft, which is our new reporting tool. And certain other features were introduced, like the message attribute lookup command now supports two new commands, which is like external recipient number and the external domain number, which will be a new set of commands which can help create some new operators. And coming to supporting the platforms, this release was the last release which supported the CA Business Intelligence CABI 4.1 SP5. It supports Oracle 12c and supports Domino's 9 server, Windows 10, and Semantic SEV 11. Coming to 15.2, which was the release in August, we have certain features like Office 65 integration was enhanced to support various new capabilities, like when the email is can now be answered from Office 65 to ISSMTP server or the EMC source 1 drop folder, and from there data protection can monitor these. We do support Office 2016 and Exchange Server 2016 with this release. A new user notification variable called external domain was introduced. So this was introduced to have a better user experience. Like initially we do have only external address, which was like if there were 25 policy violated email address, everything used to pop up for the user and it was difficult to understand. But in fact, most of the addresses were either Gmail or Yahoo or something. So now it can uniquely put only once if there is a Gmail, and can set that user is trying to send an email to gmail.com, which is not allowed. Bloomberg Forward to recipients, this was an enhancement. When the Bloomberg emails were being parsed, the Forward to was not being monitored. So we enhanced the experience of Bloomberg email monitoring. All the endpoint agents now support Windows 10. We came up with a new search in iConsole that is search by event ID. And it's a quite useful feature. A lot of customers did liked it. when a reviewer is reviewing an email and wants to ask his supervisor or another reviewer that, can you help me know that what should I take an action on this email or this event. But it was very difficult to tell the reviewer or the supervisor what to review. So we have introduced, every event has a unique ID called event ID. We have introduced a search by event ID, so a reviewer can just send the reviewer ID, event ID, and any reviewer or supervisor can just search it by that. Event process timestamp was introduced various places in the iConsole and the reports. This timestamp is something when, so currently what we show in data protection UI is event timestamp, which is actually the time when email is sent and not when the email is processed by data protection. There are times when an email is fed to data protection quite later, like it was fed through an importer probably a week later. So when it comes to data protection, the email ID, it shows a week before, event timestamp a week before, but actually we got at data protection 1 week later. Now there are auditors we choose to ask that why is such a delay or the SLA not being followed, where there was no answer for these reviewers. With this event time stamp and process timestamp both being showed, a reviewer can tell that though the email was sent earlier, but the data protection processed it at a later date. Commenting bulk audit is, so we do have bulk auditing option where a reviewer can choose to close or escalate events in bulk. Now, but there was no option to put a comment that what was the rationale behind the reviewer chose to escalate it or close it in bulk. With this option, it will be very easy for auditors to know that the rationale why the reviewer chose this bulk operation. And then we did enhance the detailed issue report with certain columns which were very useful, and which is like event process timestamp, event ID, when is the issue created, when it was issued, and also what was the policy which caused that event. So these are the various features. We also did certain certifications of, like I reviewed, talked about Windows 2010 and Office 2016. So pretty much this is what we did in 15.2. Any questions in the last two releases which we have done?
Again, if you need to unmute your line, just press #6 or *6.
Okay, so if no questions, I'll just move ahead. So coming to roadmap. Now, I'll go ahead with the rationale on our roadmap. So we do have something called vectors, which makes our decision making that what do we want to do focus on our product. So one of those areas is like we want to broaden our coverage in the electronic communications, which means anything to do with the electronic communications. We want to be up to date. We want to integrate with new forms of communications and also upgrade with the latest releases of those communications form. The second thing is our decision-making capability. We do have a robust policy engine, a keyword-based policy engine, which can do a lot, and it is something which is loved by our our customers. Now, what we want to do is to continue on this journey to make this policy decision-making capability more robust, a self-learning, easy to use, easy to write, and you'll be seeing a lot of features where we will be enhancing our decision-making capability. The third thing which we want to focus is our users or reviewers' productivity and their usefulness. So which includes from their experience of using the product, from installing, upgrading, their productivity in reviewing, writing policies, flexible reporting, improved auditability. And the fourth thing is the scale and performance of our product. There are various components where we do hear about this, about the slowness or the performance not to. So we are looking into all those scenarios, and we are reviewing that, and we are looking into the architecture to improve on the performance of the product. Last but not the least is our focus on upgrading our platform support and the third-party integrations. Okay, so I have a question here which says that we have a number of customers who are currently on 14.5 and they will eventually require to upgrade to the latest. I understand going to 14.1 is not a stable path. Going to 14.2 is the most efficient upgrade. Concerns around are the DB upgrade concerns. Okay, so the good thing is that we do have various of our customers who have taken our beta of 15.2, and we have seen various, we can talk about the successful upgrades that have happened from 14.5 to 15.2 successfully, and there were certain questionnaires which our engineering team has answered, but I think in terms of successful upgrade, including the DB, have been a good success as of now. There were certain issues related to compatibility with 15.1, and that's one reason we are focusing all our customers to upgrade to 15.2 and not on 15.1. So yes, the issues which were discussed with our team, I can actually let you know what were the issues and how did they resolve. So Frank, I'll be letting you know. Not very specific to the generalized problem, but very specific to the customers. Okay, so coming to the roadmap. Now, the left section of it talks about what we have delivered is 15.1 and 15.2. So, and that's what we have discussed. Now coming to what's in our plate, which is under planning, and we are wanting to do it next. So Exchange Archiving 2016 is something which is released. Microsoft came with their own archiving solution, which is native. A lot of customers are looking for integrating their email server environment with the same native archiving, and which is where we have put it on our roadmap that will be supporting Exchange Archiving. Symphony is a new IAM. I would say it is more than an IAM chat utility, where it's a cloud-based environment where various customers can interact with each other, and they can talk. So this is a secured environment where cross-company discussions can happen. And we do have an NDA signed with Symphony, and we are working towards coming up with a common solution between CA and Symphony that integration is for a successful integration. Coming to the decision-making capability, we are enhancing our data lookup command to support newer kinds of policy. So one of those requests that came was for support for over-the-wall policy, which is something like when in a bank there are two sides of an employee, one is the private and the other is the public, and when sometimes the public side employees come to the private and work on deals, they need to be monitored for every email they send it to their public friends or an external or to any other person who is not a part of the same deal, which is a kind of a complex policy. And we are doing our data lookup enhancements to support any such kinds of complex policies which can take decision at runtime depending upon who the sender is and what's the deal he is, and who the recipient is and what's deal he is working on. So that's kind of a new enhancement. We'll be enhancing our policy sets. So one of those policies which I have mentioned here is anti-money laundering policies, and similarly in future we'll be looking up in the policy sets and making enhancement or improvement in that. Coming to inference engine. So this is an engine which is a new policy engine which we are talking about based on machine learning, NLP, and analytics, which will bring up lots of new kinds of, so it will enhance the current policy engine's capability. So there are scenarios in the current world when a user sends an email but it doesn't use the normal English language, and it is very difficult to predict or to write policies which can be of such scenarios. And they are various synonyms that can be used which are similar, but a policy is not written because the current policy is a keyword-based detection or a regular expression. The tools which we are developing is a really high technology, latest libraries which are coming up in the, and it's a next level of policy engine which we are working towards, and probably another 2 months or a month we will be coming up with starting the next demo or what the capabilities it can take. Also what it will do is it will enhance our reviewers lifecycle, because it can start recommending depending upon the learnings it has done in terms of the real data, plus also the reviewers action that has been taken in the last few years. Now the engine will learn and it will put its intelligence saying that I see this event and this event seems to be false positive. Now a reviewer can select all such false positives together and say that I understand that these are similar events and I just review it in one shot. Makes the reviewer's life cycle very fast and easy. Coming to user productivity, we will be enhancing lots of reports. Some of them we are mentioning is the admin report and reviewer latency report. We are looking towards enhancing our policies, how our policy admin write the policy, test their policy, upgrade their policy, deploy it from UAT to production. So we're looking into and discussing with various customers on that whole life cycle of the policy, and we'll be taking baby steps, but our idea is to come up with a whole policy life cycle management tool. So starting with this release, we are looking for certain tools like a policy compare tool, which can tell at runtime that what is between the UAT and the production, what are the various differences. Or a testing tool at that runtime, you can compile a policy, can tell that at line number 39 there's an error. Then other features which help improve the user productivity is hiding the extracted text not to be visible for everybody, or there are scenarios when an email is triggered and there are lots of attachments in it. And as a reviewer, they don't know that out of all these 10 attachments, which is the attachment that is causing the policy to trigger, or out of all these recipients, which is the one which is a user, which is a non-compliant. So such scenarios, we are going to improve our user's experience. We will be identifying what is the attachment, who's the recipient, which is uniquely responsible for such policy violation, and some other reports enhancement. We'll be making our product completely 64-bit. For the sake of, we've written Windows 2016 because we are sure, but we'll be making a review of all the third parties which we have integrated, and we'll be supporting the latest versions of the platforms in the next release or the upcoming releases. So this is something which is about the current release which we are planning and working on. And when it comes to our future, where we are also considering, so we want to be the best of breed in the electronic communication supervision, where we are enhancing our capability. So let's say the IAMs which are being used. So we started the Symphony, and we are reviewing what are the various communication methods being used at our customers, and we'll be supporting them, and also supporting the social media sites like LinkedIn and Twitter. There have been increased requests or for supporting our classification engine, and we understand that. So we will be enhancing our classification engine capability to support SharePoint 2016, OneDrive, Dropbox, and similarly the latest or the most used repositories where the customers keep their data in their enterprise world. Enhancing our decision-making capability is where we'll be like the policy by user role, that how does a user role, we can actually write various different policies, and language context-aware policies. In the user productivity, I talked about the policy lifecycle management tool. So we are reviewing all the issues that in our policy administrator face when they are writing a policy, and we are collecting it, and in steps we'll be improving that. And our idea is to completely have an editor tool for a policy creation versus maintenance. We are working towards coming up with the interfaces, various interfaces in the product, where the data which is stored in our product can be exposed and can be integrated with any third party for better usability, making better decision, or better reporting. And coming to our UI, making our UI more like granular UI privileges, where different roles can do what, can be maintained at very granular level. And language translation support. In the scale and performance, we are looking into various components of ours which does have performance issues, or the customers have been talking about as well, sustaining or support teams. We are reviewing, and we'll be re-architecturing them to make sure that we fix either those multi-threading issues or some other performance issues which deadlock happen, and we'll be coming up with a newer architecture for these components. We have talked about importer and CMS in the first phase. Platform, as I talked about, we are reviewing most of our third-party components which we integrate, supporting them their latest versions, and also integrating with any third parties which enhances our capability in the broader coverage of electronic communication supervision. So that's briefly about our roadmap, which brings me to the end of what I was willing to talk. I'll be free to take questions from anybody here.
And I also opened a poll, so if anyone would like, please rate today's webcast so we get a better understanding of how we're doing as far as our CA community webcasts go. As a reminder, if you have any questions, you can ask them in the chat window or the Q&A panel, and you can also unmute your line to ask a question over the phone by pressing #6 or *6.
Okay, so if there's no questions regarding them.
And another thing I forgot to mention was that we recorded this webcast, so I will be posting the replay link as well as the slides to the CA security community later today. I'll post a link right now in the chat window in case you are not yet a member of the CA security community.
Okay, so before closing, I would say that for all our internal teams and our customers, thank you so much for coming. The idea of this is we might be doing further such webcasts where we'll talk more about our other features which we are delivering, or we will be doing demos of some of our new newly features which is into the research phase. And the team here is working on various new capabilities, and we are very much invested in the product. So feel free to communicate with us via communities or email us directly on email to hemant.kumar@ca.com or sanjay.patnaik@ca.com. So I and Sanjay do work for the product management for data protection. Thank you everybody for joining. Have a good day.
Thanks everyone. Enjoy the rest of your week. Bye-bye.